Hi, everybody. It's nice to see all y'all. I need to send a text. Gonna give you guys a few minutes to arrive. Hey, replay crew. How are you guys? It's always good to see you when you come around. It has been a day today. Oh my goodness. It poured, well, for Portland, it poured down rain. Hey, Pamela, how are you? It poured down rain most of the day. And so I did not head down to the org today, but because it was raining, but also because hubby and I had to go find a new truck for hubby. His truck was totaled a couple of weeks ago. Hey, Leslie, how are you? Make popcorn. It's a lovely thing to do on a rainy Saturday evening. So my day was a little crazy. This morning, we did some shopping for yard furniture. I need a new set of chairs with footstools to sit out in my little uh, smoking area outside for when I want to actually smoke a joint. So I need new chairs for in there. And I went and looked at Home Depot and Lowe's for stuff, but they only have sets with, 4 chairs. Is it raining in the valley, Leslie? It's one of those days in the Northwest. I'm surprised it wasn't raining in San Francisco, but it's sure raining all the way up here. I am doing well, just coming home from a crazy day, buying cars, buying yard furniture. On the good side, I did I drove by the org on my way home just in the last 45 minutes, and it is pouring here in the Pacific Northwest. Thank you. I got this new Selena Gomez blush lighter, and you guys, this blush is so pretty. Look at that. I am just loving it. Snow on Mount Si. Yeah, it's been getting cold. It's been getting cold, but it's supposed to be sunny again Monday. At least that's what the forecast said. Hey, Rika. Doesn't it? I'm so pleased with it. I'm so pleased with it. It's the loveliest blush I think I've ever had. I just can't stop looking. Hey, Ellie, at this blush on my cheeks. So, yeah, we've had minor sun breaks here and there. It was if the curtains had been up when I drove by, hey Ellie, if the curtains had been the drapes, the blinds, the shades, if they had been up when I drove by the org, I would have stopped and got them to pull the shades again, but their shades were still drawn this afternoon at 6 o'clock, 10 to 6 when I drove by. So my guess is that they pulled them for Rika, and they have been pulled for the whole day, which is pretty amazing for our little crew. I know Rika and Lisa and Mike were all out there earlier today. If you guys aren't subscribed to all of them, please make sure and go subscribe to Rika. To Rika and to Hi Fuzzy, how are you? I've just missed you guys so much. I think it's been several days. I've been trying to dig into my homework and get it done ahead of time, and this week was extra tiring because it was a new schedule for everything. But we got the new car, and yeah, it is a beautiful area, Pamela. I lived there for 15 years and I miss it. I miss it like heaps and lots. It's a really beautiful part of the country. Pamela, Leslie was at the breakfast with us. She was up there. So you guys have probably met. So, how was everybody else's day? What did you guys get done? Rika, did you get the activities done with your kids that you wanted to do? I was not out of town today, but I was off buying a new car. My husband's car was. That's okay, Pamela. I didn't mean to suggest that you should have remembered. There were a lot of people there. I was not out of town today. I had to go help. I had to go with my husband because we had to get a new truck because his truck was totaled last week. Hey, Susan P. And so we had to go truck shopping, and I had to go along in case he found something he wanted, which I did, so that I could sit around and twiddle my thumbs and wait to bring the other car home. So, and I needed a break. Today wouldn't have been a good day for me to go down to the org. I don't do well when it's all rainy and cold. Orion wants to come say hi, you guys. Come here. Hi. Hi there. You gonna say no? You gotta look at my ear. How about you look at them? Say hi to them. They want to see you. I'm glad you had fun with your kids, Rika. You had cupcakes, watched a movie, and made dinner together. That's lovely. I'm waiting on my dinner to cool down. I was going to do a quick live with you guys. Which way? That way. Stop it. You don't need to lick my... No, stop it. Don't lick my face. Don't lick my face. Yeah, I know. Scratch you more. Yeah. Give you more scritches. Yeah. Give you more scritches. That's all you want. So I just wanted to come on for, I don't know, 15 or 20 minutes while my food cools off so it's not too hot to eat, and say hi to you guys and see what you did today, how your day was, what you think of my fancy new blush. I know, I just can't stop thinking about it. It's so pretty. And tell you that you love Orion. He's pretty cute. Come here. Come here. There you go. Now, see, he's just being difficult. He's just being difficult. What everybody else do today? Did everybody else have a good day in the Pacific Northwest rain? Yes, puppy. He is 3 years old. He's awfully demanding. You went fishing. Did you catch anything, Susan? I didn't know you liked to fish. That's pretty cool. Bubba, you don't have to lick me. You don't have to lick me. And you cleaned up flower beds? That's nice. That's nice. 2 bass. Are you having a bass dinner? Nice. Is it a good time of year for fishing? With the rain and the cold? I used to go fishing with my grandpa, but I don't know anything about fishing anymore. I haven't been fishing in years and years and years. My brother goes ice fishing. He lives in Minnesota, so he goes ice fishing over the winter. And it was in the 70s. Wow. That sounds nice, Susan. We did not get 70s. We got mid 50s and spatter, rain spatter. So, Pamela, you slept in, cleaned the dishes, fixed food, watched the boys play. Come on, stop. Watched SBTV. Yeah, it seemed like kind of a slow day. I saw Jay was out in Denver, and Windy City Thetan Watch was out there for a little while. Rika was out there for a little while. Doesn't the 70s sound amazing? It's supposed to be like that. Bubba, you don't need to lick me. You don't. I'll give you scritches even if you don't. Yeah. It's supposed to be in the 70s again on Monday, Rika. So if we're lucky, we will get that. We will get that again. Fuzzy, you worked from home, followed me and Ellie around the chats, and liked and subscribed your little heart out to help the algorithms. Yes, we did kind of. You and me and Ellie and Fluffer, there was a whole crew of us that seemed to be popping into each other all day. But it did seem like a really slow and quiet day. DOA is barbecuing for the group. He likes to do that, doesn't he? He seems to be the barbecue type that feels fulfilled when he's cooking for a crowd. He seems to enjoy it, at least. Yeah, I watched Reese on the way home. Or actually, I watched Reese while I was sitting there waiting for the paperwork on the car purchase to get finished. So that's the not fun part of having a dachshund, y'all. That's the not fun part about having a dachshund. Okay. Hey, Sunrise Dawn. How are you doing? What do you think of my new blush? I've been showing it off to everybody. It's the new Selena Gomez Rare Beauty blush lighter. And I just think it's so pretty. I was just about to head off, Sunrise Dawn, but now you're here. I feel bad for like having you show up and then running off. Jeffrey Augustine had a really interesting live today, guys. Did any of you catch it? I'm doing good. It's been a long day, but I'm doing good. I've got some pepperoni rolls I'm going to eat up for dinner, so leftovers. And maybe watch a movie, and then tomorrow morning work on finishing up my homework. I should have brought some of it along with me, Thank you, Sunrise Dawn. Old Chicago Pizza. I don't know. I don't know if it's a nationwide chain or just local to the Pacific Northwest, but they have, thank you for the reminder, Susan. They have the most amazing pepperoni rolls, and actually, I think they have the most amazing lasagna I've ever had. It's really, really good lasagna. Jeff's live was about how to submit a complaint to the IRS and who specifically to submit complaints to, plus all of the employer identification numbers so that you can submit said complaints. So he went through all of the details. It was long and it was detailed, and I will not get any of it right if I try to tell you guys, but you should go take a listen, because what he's talking about is how important it is for us to make these complaints to the IRS about Scientology's illegal behavior, because there seems to be some rule that if you're breaking the law, you don't get to have a nonprofit. You don't get to be nonprofit and break the law. So if the corporate veil can be pierced and it can be shown that the Scientology purse strings directly benefit David Miscavige, then that would take away the tax, the 501c3. But there's specific steps to take to fill out the form. He's got all of the employee identification numbers you need. He talks about all the different things. You have to have proof. Hi, Judy Kaufman. I am having a blessed day. I think so. Thank you. So I really encourage all of you guys to go over and listen to Jeffrey Augustine's video and see what things that that you can get out of it. And the other video that I've watched the last 2 days that I thought was just excellent, 2 of them actually that I can recommend. The first one is Nora's video from yesterday, and it was really excellent. She spent a lot of time thinking about what sorts of questions would have made a difference for her when she was still in. And she talked about something called a listing question in Scientology. And a listing question is a question that encourages you to go out and make a list of things. And so she made up some flyers or signs for us that have questions that would tend to create listing off things in their brains. And so one of them was, what else are you not allowed to have an opinion about in Scientology? And it showed Elron's bad teeth. And another one said, what else aren't you allowed to have a bad opinion about in Scientology? And it showed David Miscavige's height. So I thought that was excellent information. And the posters that she made are just amazing. The whole conversation fit in really well with the video that Liz did on Thursday about protest art. That video, Miss Sunrise Dawn, is so funny. Marisa's video, Dianetics' video making fun of Chris Shelton, was just hilarious. So that's another great one. The other one you guys really need to go see is Liz Gale's video. Liz Gale's video from today. Girl, in about 3 minutes, in about 3 minutes, She just laid down the law. Hi, Lisa. How are you? She talked about something that I've been thinking a lot about, and that is cultural appropriation with respect to um with respect to the second and third gens, and how what Stephanie is doing is essentially cultural appropriation. Hi, Susie. How are you? I thought of you today. I got this new blush, and it made me think of your makeup bag that you gave away. Um, that I didn't win, but Chow did, so that's wonderful. And Liz Ferris is back. She did a live today. That's right. She did a live this morning, and it was exceptional. But you gotta go watch. You gotta go watch Liz Gail talk about cultural appropriation and what Stephanie is doing, because what she's basically saying is the second gens and the third gens are the ones who get to police how protest happens, not Stephanie, a never in. And so that was a really interesting perspective to hear from Liz, and I thought that she made her point really, really clear. And Liz Ferris was so lovely today. I felt really bad for her. She kept apologizing, but I think she's doing a great job. She's got a lot to deal with, and she's doing a great job. She's doing a great job. And then Reese was on this evening, and that was a lovely live. We've just had a wonderful day. Just a wonderful day. Liz did look beautiful today. Which Liz? You mean Liz Ferris or Liz Gale? They both look beautiful. I love both of them too. I am so jealous of Liz Gale's hair. I would give anything to have hair that ginger. Mine's a little bit ginger, but oh my goodness, I would love to have hair that ginger, and it's so thick and luscious. She probably hates it. Probably makes her crazy because she can't do anything with it, and the heat gets all up in there in the summertime. I'm sure that it gives her no end of trouble, but I really like it. Hey, love Maddie, how are you? It's really good to see you. So what else happened today? Jay was in Denver, and he did some great protesting. Liz Ferris did look so much better today. Yeah. Maddie, I'm sorry you haven't been feeling well. Yeah, Liz did look much better. She'd clearly been so sick, but you know, she did a live a couple of days ago, and I was really concerned about her, but today she just looked so much better. Jay in Denver, I saw Mexican long hair a little bit. Again, you guys, if you're not subscribed to Rika and Mike G503 and Lisa's Day Off, please go do that, so when they're streaming downtown, you guys get the notifications for their videos. Yeah. Orion, you want to come here? Shall we show everybody you again before we take off? The cops were called on the Chicago protesters. The cops made them take their signs off the poles. Squirrel Fest. I have not heard Pearl Snappy talking about Squirrel Fest. What in heaven's name is Squirrel Fest? And how do we go in August in Longview? Pamela, do tell. I don't understand why the cops would care if their signs were on the poles. Puerto Rico was so cold. Yeah, it was cold out there. There's a reason I didn't go down there today, guys. I thought I would just freeze in the rain and cold. Not to mention the fact we had to go car shopping, and that took most of the afternoon. But yeah, it was cold. The cops were lying. The cops were lying that they had to take the signs off the poles. That wouldn't surprise me much if the cops were lying. Sounds like a lot of people have been sick. Maybe it's just spring colds going around. I've been lucky and haven't been sick so far. My professor this quarter is really strict. It's a family fun fest in the park. Food, art, and fun. Pamela, shoot me an email with the information, or maybe I can just do a Google search and I'll find it. Squirrel Fest. They said it was defacing public property even though they were taped and the protesters told them they take them down when they leave. Hay fever to a sinus cold. Isn't that always the way it is, love Maddie? Sunrise Dawn, I'm sorry you've been sick. I know you guys, my eyes must feel like they go every which way. I usually defocus in order to think, and so you'll see me defocus like this in order to think about something or to remember something, and I often forget to talk right to the camera hole because the chat is over here. So I'm often looking at the chat, not looking at the camera hole. That sounds like a funny thing to say over and over again, camera hole. We're halfway through the weekend, guys. Do you think we've survived yet? You think we've got it? You do the same thing, Sunrise Dawn? I'm glad you guys didn't notice. Yep, I just stare off into space and have what looks like an absence seizure for a minute because I can't remember a word or a thing. And that after menopause, I don't know about y'all, but after menopause, the can't remember shit is real. I can't remember words. I can't remember thoughts. Camera hole. Isn't it a camera hole? The shutter, I don't know what it's called. Camera hole. Where the hole for the camera is in the iPad. I need to tomorrow try out doing a stream on my little bitty laptop. Do a stream on my little bitty laptop so I can see if I can figure out how to show you guys things. That's your excuse, love Maddie? No, it's not the lens. The fact that you think it's funny when you say it over and over is what's funny. I'm glad it's funny. Is it the camera lens? I guess it is the camera lens. Thank you, Lisa. It's not the camera hole, y'all. It's camera lens. Yes, change your hormone patch, Sunrise Dawn. I never had hormones replacement. I just did it cold turkey. And it seems to have mostly worked. I almost miss the hot flashes because I tend to run cold anyhow. Oh no, it's camera hole. Pablo Enrique Rodriguez Vasconcelos. Bienvenidos. Welcome. We are happy to have you. Where have you found us from? You are new here. You had to get hormones in order to ensure the survival of my family. Yeah, I actually think that I should have had hormone replacement therapy, that I was not, I think I was depressed going into menopause, and menopause just made the depression worse. But I didn't recognize that that was going on, and so I think some hormone replacement therapy might have helped. Pamela, perimenopause is a little wonky, and then it gets a little wonkier, and then you're done. Mine was actually pretty easy. It took, I don't know, it was only 3 years of inconsistency with my periods. Knock wood. Make the dog bark. Sorry, I made the dog bark, y'all, for knocking wood. Your husband asks if you take your bitch meds? Really? Maddie, I'm sorry yours was not easy. I'm really sorry. I think I was really lucky. I'm really thankful that it went smoothly and easily, and except for the depression. The depression is continuing to hang on. The dog made you giggle. Yeah, he's a terrible attack dog, that one. Orion, come here. Come on. Come here. Come on. Cat AC/DC fan. I was wondering the same thing. He is playing, I think, huh? Where's he buried at? You guys are cracking me the fuck up. Cracking me up. Now the cat is going to come see you. 13 years ago, the first chemo treatment sent you into menopause. Is that common, Susie? Does that happen commonly? That chemotherapy puts you into menopause? I didn't realize that was a thing. I can barely remember your name at this point. Yeah. Hey, Robert, it's good to see you. This is Soda. You guys can probably hear him purr. Robert, I wanted to say hi to you. I got to get around the cat to do it. You called into Tommy and Reese's call-in show and your dog Jasper started barking in the middle of it. Doesn't that just beat all Sunrise Dawn? Of course, just when you want the dog to be quiet, he barks. Exactly. Exactly. Oh my goodness. Okay, so now, can you show everybody your beautiful face? I can't see you guys over the cat. You like Soda? Let's see if he can get situated here, and then we can have some ASMR of his purring. He's a Maine Coon. He is shaved, Maddie, because his coat is so incredibly fine. There he is, you guys. His coat is so incredibly fine that he will turn into one great big mat if I don't shave him pretty consistently. Soda did get a trim. He is my sweetheart. Yeah. He got not the greatest trim. He's bigger than the dog by at least 4 inches. And, oh, Sunrise, isn't that the best? Kid giggles with a puppy. That's so great. That's so great. He is a beautiful boy. He is a very beautiful boy. Did Soda get a personality test? I don't know. You know, I could take a Ryan downtown with me, Robert. I could take a Ryan downtown with me and see if they'd let me come in and give him a personality test. I could do that for a Ryan, but I don't think Soda would take that trip very well. I have a sense that he would take off and want to go anywhere else but downtown, and we would lose him entirely. So, hey guys, I am at more than 800 subscribers, and I am coming up quickly on 1,500 watch hours. So I am well on my way to getting... Cat's always scoring the malignant narcissist range. That's hilarious, Fuzzy. That's hilarious, Furry. Fuzzy. They could find his ruin. Find the puppy's ruin. Soda doesn't like zombies? Probably not. Probably not. They want to go outside, but we're terribly afraid that people would take them once they saw them, if they got a hold of them. Okay, now he's settled, but you still might be able to hear him purr. Can you still hear him purr? Now I got cat hair up my nose, guys. Cat hair up my nose. Jasper's ruined, not enough treats. Orion was sitting under the bag of pig ears last night, whining, begging. He sat there for a half an hour begging for a pig ear. They could find his ruin. Too many treats. Exactly. How did I get a Maine Coon? I found a breeder who had a litter, and we bought 2 Maine Coons because that's what we wanted. So I've rescued cats all my life, and this time we bought cats. So it was a little different. It was not necessarily the way I wanted it to be done, but we couldn't find Maine Coons for adoption anywhere. So we found a breeder who's in Stockton, and we drove down to Stockton, and we picked out the kitty cats we wanted, and then 6 weeks later we drove down and brought them home. Reminds me of a cat I had, Tripper. He was the best, smartest, sweet living big boy kitty. He and my other cat, Poppy, both lived until they were 18. I lived off of Southeast 82nd, and they were outside until you got him. Wow. 18 is nice and old for a cat. I don't know how old Maine Coons are supposed to live for, but I worry it's not very long like other giant breeds. He wouldn't like the Santa there that dresses like Johnny Cash? Probably not. Jasper says he only gets 4 treats at bedtime and 4 or 5 throughout the day. He's completely neglected. Exactly, y'all. Exactly. Orion begged for that pig ear for a half an hour. And you know, I couldn't get up and give it to him because if I get up and give it to him, then he's just going to learn that if he whines for me, that I'll give him the damn pig ear. So you can't. You've moved, and because of coyotes, you lost my Mickey to them. Maddie goes outside very little during the day and only in the backyard. Yeah, oh. And they were outside until you got him. You've moved, and because of coyotes, I lost my Mickey to them. Maddie goes outside very little during the day and only in the backyard. Yeah, I would love it if we could cat-proof our backyard so that they could be outside. There are ways to do that, but the cats are 8 years old, and I don't see us getting another cat for a while after they're gone, so maybe it doesn't make a whole lot of financial sense. Maybe not until my YouTube channel takes off and I've got money to burn like Aaron, y'all, right? Tripper had Maine Coon in him. Maine Coons are the best. They follow us from room to room, and they just want to hang where you are, and that's about the extent of it. Your cats get naughty if you keep them inside too long. See, guys, this is why I've got to keep him shaved. Look at this. You see this? Now it doesn't look like it's so bad, but he gets these mats. Hi, Brain Mama Cat, how are you? Hi. Selah, who we lost last year, was 12. Maine Coon cats until around 12. Yeah, that's what I was guessing, Mama Cat 1. Hey, you guys, do you know Mama Cat 1? She is our compatriot who protests in San Francisco. And she's pretty amazing. $7,000 cat proofing his yard so she can go outside. Wow. I could build a tribal from that. I'm not sure I understand you, Robert. From the mat. Brain, I'm so glad you're here, Brain Fog. Yeah, Brain Fog tells me that I look a lot like her aunt at my age, but I think that you probably, Brain Fog, think I'm a lot younger than I am. I have an eldest child who is going to be 30 in 5 days. And I did not have him while I was a teenager, so I'm probably a little older than you think. Susie, my calico will live forever. She's too mean to die. I'm scared of her. I'd sooner wrestle a lion. Really, Susie? Calicos are like that. They're bossy. They're awfully bossy. Oh yeah, from the extra hair, I've got a whole bag of hair since I've been, and I find it everywhere. Everywhere. But I've got handfuls of it. See? Soda hair. Nope. I am 55, Sunrise Dawn. 55. That included what basically amounts to a cat jungle gym. Your niece in Southern California adopted the biggest Maine Coon I've ever seen, Perna. That's a lovely name. And gorgeous and super confident, not as near as affectionate as Tripper was. Susie, you're just a little bit older than me, except you're a baby boomer and I'm Gen X. Nope, not 40. I would love to be 40 again. I know I don't look it. Oh, good. That's the age you were thinking? You were thinking about the same age? You guys are both baby boomers. I get to be the Gen Xer, but you're probably Gen Xers. 57? You're still Gen X, you checked? Prune. Nice. Gen X is much better than baby boomer. That's for damn sure. I don't identify with those baby boomers at all. Torties are something else for attitude. You'll be 47 in August, Sunrise Dawn? I wouldn't have thought that. You don't look that old either. You guys are boomers? The bodyguard is technically a baby boomer. You're also Gen X, 51. Yeah. My brother's 51, Pamela. Schoolhouse Rock much, y'all? The bodyguard is technically a baby boomer. Yeah, my husband and I are almost exactly the same age, but his parents were a whole lot older than me. So his parents, of course, his parents were older than you, Carrie. They were his parents. No, his parents were quite a bit older than mine. He was the youngest. Love, Maddie. I'm 55. Susie said she's 57. And Mama Cat said she's 57. So, and Miss Sunrise Dawn is going to be 47. So I don't know, Maddie, how old are you? Oh my goodness. Now, Lisa is older, Maddie, but I'm not sure how old she is. Lisa, are you still in here? I don't think Lisa's 68 though. You get the prize today, Maddie. Who's the youngest? Susan, you have 62 and no idea what you are. Boomer, you're a boomer. It's the boomer generation. So yeah, what I was going to say is hubby's parents are the greatest generation. They were the age of my grandparents. And yeah, his mother was just a few years younger than my maternal grandmother. Because I was the eldest and my mom was 19 when she had me, and Ed was the youngest. And did I say Orion about something, Maddie? Your mom is 96 and still cooking. You are blessed to still have her. I'm so glad that she's still kicking. Siri wants to talk about mom. Wow, Maddie, all on her own. That's great. That's great. So I call hubby a boomer a little bit since he was raised by the greatest generation, but he's a Gen Xers. 1965 to 1983. That sounds about right. Orion is the youngest here. I got it. I'm a little slow on the uptake sometimes, y'all. I don't know if you've noticed that, but I can be a little slow with the jokes. I don't always get them the first time across. So if I don't get it the first time across, now you know, now you know why. Because I can't remember shit. And I don't get the jokes right off the top. Yeah, I think it's pretty good for 68, love Maddie. I do think it's pretty good for 68. Your parents were born in 1926, Susan P. I think that's about when Ed's parents were born. Because my grandmother was born in 1924. So my husband's mom was born in 26 or 28. So, yeah. We had a family friend that passed at, I think, 97 and never stopped driving and doing things for herself. We were all shocked when she died because she was so healthy. Yeah, that's the way it is, isn't it? People that old, they just go so quickly. 1927, your mom and your old neighbor was 1924. There you go. And I had, well, we all had great grandmothers, but my great grandmother, your neighbor, was still driving at 99. Wow. Wow. Still driving at 99. That's just amazing. And the thing that was in my head just went right out. Brain fart, guys. Isn't that fun? Lion's mane. You think it's helping? I've got some lion's mane chocolate. I've also got some other mushroom chocolate, but the mushrooms don't seem to have much effect for me. So I should try more of the lion's mane more consistently. How long did you need to take it, and how much, Mama Cat, until you started making, until you saw it start making not? Yes, I can talk. The cat's gone now. The cat is gone, but not the cat hair. The cat hair is still there. Lion's mane chocolate. Yeah, I get it. There's a online store that sells mushroom chocolates, and they sell all variety of mushroom chocolates, including magic mushroom chocolate. And so I got some lion's mane chocolate, but I don't know how long. I'm curious, Mama Cat, how long you have to take it until you notice if there's a difference or not. It is, yeah, it's nice dark chocolate, so it's really, really tasty and healthy. The reason we knew something had happened was because she missed church, which she never did. Oh, yeah, it's so important to have those lifelines nowadays for the I've fallen and I can't get up. Remember that old commercial when we were kids? Help, I've fallen and I can't get up. But those things are serious, and we really need to have them for people so that they can get up when they've fallen, because falls like that will really, really affect older people badly. It's not uncommon that they pass from a fall like that, which is terrible. The bottle is upstairs, takes effect around 3 weeks. It seems to be working. Mushrooms made this colorblind person see colors. Wow. Yeah, we had one for my mother-in-law as well. And my mom should really have one. My mother-in-law passed about
There's no one in your contacts named one.
Siri really likes to talk to me while I'm on lives with you guys. I cannot figure out what it is I do that turns her on. Okay, brain fog, I will get a bottle of lion's mane mushrooms and see if it makes a difference once I talk to my psychiatrist and make sure it's okay. I'm in the process of switching. It's the new blush. It's okay. It's the new blush that's doing what? Making me forget things? I can believe that's making me forget things. Our friend's mom fell in the shower a while back and it knocked her out. I'm glad. Oh, turning Siri on, it's the blush. I'm glad her daughter-in-law was there, or who knows how long she would have laid there. Exactly. Exactly. It's a scary thing, falls like that, when people get older. Hey, it's a scary thing when I'm as old as I am. I fall easy. I twist an ankle and fall generally at least twice a year. And I'm like that. I am clumsy. I fall down. I've always been clumsy. Butterfingers. And so I try to always have my phone with me. And one of the reasons that I got a watch with the phone integrated was so that I'd always have a phone with me in case I fall. I fell once and the phone skittered across the road from me. I couldn't even get over there to pick it up. So we should all be really aware of being careful of falls, because they are not fun. So were there any other videos that you guys thought were really, really interesting today? We talked about Liz Gale Gales, and we talked about Liz Ferris. Call up the stairs. Yeah, that doesn't work. I fall outside. I tend to fall outside. So it doesn't work so well when I fall outside. We talked about Liz Ferris stream today, and we talked about Liz Gale Gale's stream today, and we talked about Nora's stream yesterday. And I don't know. Were there any others that I should go watch this afternoon? The sun's starting to go down. I saw the beginnings of that, Fuzzy. Brain fog, tell us what happened. Was he actually going to go in? I think I just overheard parts of it because we were busy test driving the car while you were doing your thing. It still amazes me that people walk by. Marilyn's video today was really good too. And I was talking about Jeffrey Augustine. If you haven't watched Jeffrey Augustine's, pardon me, y'all. If you haven't watched Jeffrey Augustine's video, it's got really good information about how to help send complaint forms to the IRS about the tax exemption. My first mother-in-law had a life alert button. When my oldest was little, she said, "What's that?" and pushed the button. Oh my goodness, the first responders got a laugh out of it. Well, I guess it could be worse, right? They prefer probably to show up to the event when there's nothing actually happened. He almost went in and started a convo, and it led to him not going in. I'm so happy about that, brain fog. Good job. I'm still shocked that people just still nowadays, with everything that's on the internet, that people show up and just are willing to walk in there. When we were down there last Saturday, this girl, it was her birthday, and so she was insistent she was going to go into the org. They wouldn't let her in. Bye, Kat. You have a wonderful evening. Ah, so they really got a good chuckle out of it, didn't they, Sunrise Dawn? I hope you have a great evening, Kat. So I need some help from you guys. I've gotten some ideas about what to do for 1,000 subscriber for 1,000 subscriber celebration. And so one idea is that I'm going to make a bracelet like the one I made for Reese, that out of sterling silver bracelet out of sterling silver and Swarovski crystal. And so I'm going to make one of those. It'll say SP and it'll have goldenrod in it. And I'm going to make up one of those and we can give it away at the 1,000 subscriber party. And somebody else, maybe it was Susan. Did you recommend this, Susan? Suggested that we have a plate of Orion's favorite treats out and people get to pick what treat Orion gets. I think he would love that. He would just think that's the bomb because he never ever gets treats. But what other things do you guys think might be fun or that you've seen done for 1,000 subscriber party? Because it's getting closer and closer, y'all. Oh, that's a great idea, Miss Sunrise Dawn. That was not you, Susan? Now I'm going to have to remember who it was. I'd like a younger friend of mine to get one. She has a rare muscle wasting autoimmune disease and fell again outside. Did have her phone. Firemen called to get her back up. Doctors had said her issues were all in her head at first. How'd I do, Maddie? I'm impressed with your shorthand, girl. Doctor said her issues were all in her head. Isn't that just the way it is? I hope she can get one. I hope she can get one of those I've fallen and I can't get up things. I don't know what those are called either. And I'm going to have to come up with a funny name for those. Sunrise Dawn, I love this idea. Just do a drawing for a chance to do a video chat. I think that's a great idea. I could do a couple of those. That would be so much fun. It was very hard on her. Mini guardians. Yeah. Yeah. I can't stand it when doctors say that either. My doctor keeps telling me, well, we're not going to look into that because there's nothing that can be done about it. I'm like, Okay, so I'll just be miserable then, I guess. There's no treating it, so we're not going to find out if it's a thing. I guess that makes sense from some perspective. My ex is bipolar. His dad told him it was all in his head. The ex said, "You're right, it is in my head." Exactly, Sunrise. It's totally in my head. If it wasn't in my head, we wouldn't be having this conversation. It wouldn't be a problem. Why is this a surprise? It's all in my head. It's all in my head. Fibromyalgia is all in your head. It's all in your head. It's all psychosomatic pain. Doesn't make it less real. The body still feels it exactly the same. Doesn't matter if it's in your head. It still hurts. Yeah. It's very rare, especially for women. She was in her mid-50s when it started. Well, of course, she was in her mid-50s. That makes it harder for doctors to pay any attention to what she's saying. I often wonder, Miss Sunrise Dawn, how many of their elders were mentally ill, but we didn't know it, and how much alcoholism back in the day was because people didn't have any medication. The only thing they could use was alcohol. She's now part of OSU in a study. That's really cool, Maddie.
Really? Cool.
Siri, enough already with this. Yeah, I think that the only medication, the only thing people could medicate their pain with was alcohol. And tough it out and walk it off was the only option. And so, you know, people ask about the mental health of my grandparents and my aunts. You were told your seizures were hysterics? Oh my goodness, that is a bad word in the medical world. It's a terrible word in general. Mama Cat, I can't believe they told you it was hysterics. I'm glad your regular doctor had a fit. Oh my goodness. Your regular doctor had a fit and you went back and found a different provider and they have your seizures under control right now, right? That's the way it worked. Please tell me that's the way it worked. Because now I'm getting all fired up for y'all. Yeah, that's a bit much. That's a bit much. I'm really sorry too. So I wonder how our elders got along without having the medications that we have. I mean, I remember my grandmother and my mom talking poorly about my great grandmother because she took anti-anxiety pills. Well, it was Valium she was taking in the early 70s. And they were just on her case about taking this Valium and how weak she was for having to take medication. And I would never take medication. And that's actually one of the things that made me think I didn't have anxiety for years and years and years and years. I just put this, I decided that I can't possibly have anxiety because anxiety is bad and I would need to take medication for that. Instead of my mom and my grandmother realizing that my great grandmother actually had trouble and the medication might actually be helping her. So does anxiety run in the family? No, because nobody was fucking diagnosed with it. Friend's hubby on his paternal side used alcohol for their mental issues until her hubby broke that cycle and got help. Exactly. Exactly. You can only do what you learn. And how would you know a different way to dull the pain if you've only learned one way to dull the pain? His dad never drank. He was very into athletics. I think that was his outlet. Yeah, athletics can be an outlet. We've heard Reese talk about that with Huxley. He ran a large ballpark and was the head umpire for the state of Tennessee for a long time. Wow, that's really cool, Miss Sunrise Dawn. You only had 3. You have to get the records from the head doctor so the regular doctor can forward to better head doctors. Okay, good, but you're in the process of that, and the regular doctor believes that you actually have a problem. So, yeah. Lots of abusive spouses for sure. There was also saying, yep, it was also saying you have a mental problem that's in the family too. Yeah, exactly. So people couldn't get help. There was no help. It's not like all of these mental illnesses didn't exist back in the day. We're just diagnosing them now. So nothing has fundamentally changed. We just have better skills at identifying what's out there. And so people think there's this crisis in mental health, and there is a crisis in mental health, but there's always been a crisis in mental health. Don't you think, Susan? In a seizure and hysterics? Seriously. I can't even with that shit. Something else entirely. Oregon is one of the worst states to try to get mental health help in. It's awful. It's awful. I work with developmentally disabled adults, and sometimes I have to help them find a therapist. And they end up with a therapist that they have for 2 weeks, and then that therapist leaves, so they get assigned a new therapist who's there for 6 weeks and leaves. And then they get assigned a new therapist. Eventually, they give up because they're tired of always training a new therapist. And I can't blame them. If I had to always train a new therapist, I would be done with finding a therapist too. It's just bullshit. I don't know. Do you know why, Maddie? Why Oregon is one of the worst states to try to get mental health care in? Is it just that we haven't funded it? I'm not sure why it is. I haven't looked into it enough. Wow, Sunrise Dawn. That came in handy when your oldest played ball. When you signed her up, she told the guy her papa ran the park. He said, "That's Raymond's grandbaby?" You said yes, and he said no charge. That's such a sweet story. I really miss living in a small town. It was some of the best years of my life when we lived in the Snoqualmie Valley outside of Seattle. It's a really small community. There's only one high school. It was just really, really lovely. All the parents pulled for all the kids. It's a nice way to be. It's a nice way to be. I'm sure there are problems with it that this city kid did not understand because I didn't grow up in a small town. So I'm not, I'm just, I'm a never into a small town. I'm just an ally, which is one of the things that Liz Gale's video made me think about, is how important it is to be allies and not run into cultural appropriation. So Oregon always seems to be the suck it up state. That's what my relatives all are like. I don't know, Oregon's got pretty crap education, and but Oregon is weird. It is like the most libertarian, get out of my business, don't pester me about anything, leave my rights alone, combined with a huge nanny state. It's the weirdest combination. You called Raymond and told him he just saved me $60. I told him the story and he laughed. He said, I'll make sure to thank him tomorrow. That's so sweet, Miss Sunrise Dawn. I love stories like that. And having your grandparents around for grandkids. I know one of the hardest things in my life has been that my dad passed when my youngest was only 2. And so my youngest has almost no memory of their grandfather. And that's almost harder than any other part of my father dying. That right there still brings me to tears. It's just awful. Willamette Week. Why is Oregon's mental health care system so broken? By Chris Bonoff. Follow the money. Data shows Oregon experiences a higher incidence of mental illness than most states, but provides less services. Yes. Yes, they do. The services are for shit. The number of therapists is for shit. In fact, our marriage therapist is in Florida, and my regular therapist is in Minnesota. Right, Sunrise Dawn? Right, Sunrise Dawn? It's hard to find counselors that you click with, and it seems like every time you do, they move or leave the practice. Yeah, so you give up trying to find a therapist, right? I finally found a therapist a couple of years ago. I finally found a therapist I really, really, really liked. And about 6 months into therapy, she told me she was retiring. And I was like, you couldn't told me this 6 months ago before we started this whole therapy business? It was probably more like a year that I'd been with her, but still, I was annoyed. I had to go find another therapist, interview therapists. Interviewing therapists is a pain in the fucking ass, y'all. Thinking up questions to ask. Yeah. But it's really important, Sunrise Dawn. Finding a primary physician. That was the other, when we moved, when the kids were all younger, we moved to Oregon about 13 years ago now. And finding a primary physician to replace the family physician that we had was really difficult. Oregon's healthcare isn't the best either, for all of OHSU being here. When your cousin was killed, you started grief therapy. You finally found a therapist you liked, but ended up quitting going after she canceled. Oh my. Sorry, Sunrise. I just need to breathe for a moment. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Sunrise Dawn. But you've had the same doctor you had since you were a kid? That's amazing, Sunrise. That's really amazing. Hello, Big Chief. How are you? It's a pleasure to have you here. Where are you coming in from? I don't think we've seen you before. Have we seen you before? And I'm just forgetting the name? We are talking about all manner of nonsense. He's never allowed to retire, right? We had the same thing with our family doctor when we lived in Seattle. He was a family friend, and we told him he was never allowed to retire. He retired anyhow, but after we moved first. Oh, Jen Wow sent you. Thanks for the sub, Big Chief. South Central Los Angeles, eh? You work with Mexican long hair, Miss Sunrise Dawn says. Your last doctor moved to New Zealand? Wow. Big Chief, now I remember meeting you. So what's everybody got set for tomorrow? I'm doing homework. I have to read about, what do I have to read about? I have to read about linguistic diversity and discrimination awareness. It says we highlight what has been called the last acceptable bias in higher education, bias against language and non-standard dialects of English. Sunrise Dawn, I may be doing that sooner than later. I usually have Fluffer Squirrel here, but it's a little late in the UK right now for Fluffer. So I need some mods to cover other times for when I'm doing lives not during the day. So if you'd be willing to do that, that would be just lovely. You're going to keep Maddie company tomorrow? That sounds like a good plan. I'm going to read about linguistic discrimination and answer a bunch of questions about it because my teacher in my master's program, we are required to do a journal entry of the readings the night before class, every class. I feel like I'm back in 6th grade. Well, it's kind of like that, but a little different. What it's saying is that there really isn't any such thing as standard American English. It's hard to define, and we really don't know what it is. And the way somebody speaks is one of the last acceptable forms of discrimination. Not everybody learns to speak that well. Oh, Susan, you got the info on the mod training? Ellie's going to help you? That's great. Let me fix this up right now, you guys. Of course there's mainstream, but which mainstream, Big Chief? Minnesotan mainstream or Californian mainstream? North Georgia mainstream? I'm trying to find my stream on here, you guys, so that I can go in and non-regional dialects. Okay, there, guys. Look at that. Wasn't Ellie's training? I don't think anybody speaks without a regional dialect, Big Chief. There is this really interesting quiz you can take. Oopsie. There is this really interesting quiz you can take that asks about 26 questions about how you say different words, and then it manages to identify where you're from. Yes, you know proper English, but you have a choice of codes you use for different situations. Right. What we're talking about is discrimination against people who haven't necessarily had the opportunity to learn what you're calling proper English. Because there's British English, there's Scottish English, so standard American English is just it's really hard to define. It's just really hard to define because everybody's got sort of a different definition. But the bigger issue than that is the discrimination against people who can't necessarily speak it when they come into college. Yeah, you get what I mean. Your niece is a professor of linguistics? Where is she a professor of linguistics, love Maddie? You guys want to play with your wrenches a little bit, that's fine. Aren't you guys all pretty and blue? I got my first wrench last week. No, not last week, just the other day. I got my first mod wrench in MX Mandy McGee's chat. You've been asked where you were from because of your accent more than once. Here in New York or in Europe, California, Oregon. Yeah, that does really exist even in day-to-day experiences. Yeah. The problem is the discrimination against people who speak differently, when actually, if we think about it, multilingualism is more common than monolingualism if you include dialects, but monolingualism is looked at as the norm. Your niece has her daughter in a Spanish immersion kindergarten. I know you mod for several channels, Sunrise Dawn, and I'm looking forward to being able to do it. The amount of information that Ellie gave out, and when I finally got my moderator wrench to be able to look and see people's channels so quickly and easily and everything they've ever said in the chat, it's so cool. Your niece has her daughter in a Spanish immersion kindergarten. That's excellent. The grade school that I went to was, we didn't have Spanish immersion, but we had Spanish classes. So I took Spanish classes all through grade school, first through sixth grade, and then again in middle and high school and in college. But I haven't kept it up, so it's not anywhere what it should be. But I think putting kids in immersion is really, really important. You used to shock people when they would meet you in person and you were brown and from East Oakland because they didn't expect it based on the way you spoke, brain fog. Exactly. Exactly. So what this paper is about is how language dialects are one of the last acceptable discriminations. Now, when you're in streams where you're not a mod, if you see a troll, you find yourself begging for a wrench. Well, I think that's how come I got a wrench, because they wanted to make sure they didn't have any trolls. It sure is fun to have a wrench, though. Makes things a whole lot easier. Well, this has been, you're bilingual? Big Chief, what languages are you bilingual in? It's interesting when you think about language and dialect, because we think about languages with these clear distinguishing spaces between them, and English is just called English, whether it be from, we expect it all to be mutual intelligible, the English from Scotland all the way to Indian English, and they're not in the same way that Arabic isn't one language all the way across the Arab world. That discrimination exists in Spanish speakers too. Yeah, it exists in Arab speakers too. It is definitely this idea that there is one proper way to speak. And I don't know, I think we'd be better off if we all realized that there are different dialects and we need to learn how to speak different dialects. It kind of fits in with the conversation we were having, Big Chief, before we got here, where about Liz Gale. Liz Gale had a video today where she was talking about cultural appropriation of the second and third gen experience that Stephanie Hutchinson is doing. And so being able to learn other languages, Scientology is a different language. No, conversational Spanish is not the same as the Castilian Spanish you took in school. They are nowhere close and hardly mutually intelligible in some spaces, right? Like Venezuelan Spanish is very different from Mexican Spanish, which is very different from Castilian Spanish, and they all compete. So, Maddie, you're from here, California, Oregon, but I've had people tell me that you don't barely know, ask me who also live in the West Coast, ask me where I am from because of my accent. You don't have an accent. So weird. I wonder if they are people who live on the West Coast who aren't from the West Coast. Is that the case? And yeah, most countries do have different dialects. Oh, I see. You guys were talking about Dustin putting Susan in as a moderator. Yeah. It doesn't have anything to do with subscribers. If I'm in live, I had to go on my phone to add you guys as moderators though, because I'm in StreamYard and I can't add you directly I can't add you as a moderator from the stream in StreamYard, which is really, really frustrating. Really, really frustrating. So guys, we've solved all the problems of the world. We've solved what to do for my 1,000 subscriber party. Sunrise Dawn, thank you for that idea. I think it's brilliant. And we talked about Jeffrey Augustine and the tax stuff, the IRS stuff, and Liz Gale's stream, and all the other streams that I wanted to talk about. We've covered most of it, guys. My food is definitely cold. Yes, it is. It is going to get reheated. If you're in an area for an extended period of time, you pick up the accent. I do too. I do too. Dustin said because Susan only has 1 or 2 stubs, he wasn't able to make her a mod. There's plenty of moderators who don't have a channel, aren't they? Okay, you guys. I'm going to eat my food. And try not to cough up a lung while I celebrate OT 420. I hope you all have an amazing cult-free day. And I will see you maybe tomorrow. Bye, y'all. Thanks for coming. Don't forget to like.